this program.
Okay, well, we weren't quite live yet. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Random Bullshit. I am Elliot Lindemood.
I am Scott, the fucking Vogler man.
I need to turn that way down because that's really loud. I am watching the ARCA race from Kansas.
I am going to help finish this list we started the other day.
If you're wondering, Ty Majeski is leading the race.
Nobody's wondering.
Ty Majeski is leading the race. Austin Theriault, the champion, has crashed out, and they are under the second yellow flag. So I will be keeping you up to date about what happens during the latter part of this race. But let's finish the list.
Okay, so just for people who may not have listened yesterday, we went through. Fuck them first of all, but second of all, they need to go back and listen to the previous 2 videos on your channel where we talked about the 50 worst cars ever, according to Times Magazine. And it was a lot of fun, but we're going to complete that list here on this video.
I have another list, by the way, we can look at, which has different cars.
Okay. Well, yeah, see, what I would like to do is cover 50 badass cars. And I know that you're all like, you're the weird ones.
That's going to be a debate. That's going to be a debate for the next video.
Okay. All right. So let's just do this list. I'm screen sharing. And we just did the DeLorean, which could be another video all by itself. But we're going to now talk about the Cadillac Cimarron. Chimera, whatever. Something. I don't know.
Anyway, here's another Cimarron. Here's another Cadillac.
It's another Cadillac. The horror. Everything that was wrong, venal, lazy, and mendacious about GM in the 1980s was crystallized in this flagrant insult to the good name and fine customers of Cadillac. Spooked by the success of premium small cars from Mercedes-Benz, GM elected to rebadge its awful mass-market J-platform sedans, load them with chintzy fabrics and accessories, and call them Cimarron, moron cars by Cadillac. Why? Who? Seeking an even hotter circle of hell? GM priced these pseudo caddies with 4-speed manual transmissions, no less. What's wrong with that? Thousands more than their Chevy Cavalier siblings. Ugh. A Chevy Cavalier with a 4-speed? Ugh. Anyways, thousands more than their Chevy Cavalier siblings. This bit of temporizing nearly killed Cadillac and remains its biggest shame. So...
Actually, I think its biggest shame is the customers it has.
The fat Freemason-looking motherfuckers?
Or the old people in Florida who play shuffleboard.
Yeah. Well, nowadays, Cadillac's got some cool shit. I have to admit.
Yeah, I guess. What's next?
Yeah, that's not going to be very interesting. Hold on. It takes me a second to do the screen sharing shit.
They're doing pit stops right now.
Okay. All right. So everybody can see the next car we're talking about on the screen.
Hopefully. If they can't, fuck them.
They can. It's up there. If
what
they
is it?
Can't, they're dumb. It is Camaro Iron Duke by Chevrolet from 1982.
Oh, boy. Yeah, well.
Yeah, another example.
Let's read what it has to say.
It's going to be another example of an American car that had its fucking balls neutered by the fuel regulations in the 70s.
Let's read what it's... Yes, but let's read what it says.
There was a time when 90 horsepower was a lot. And that time was 1932. 50 years later, it was bupkis, especially under the hood of Chevy's beloved Mustang fighter, the Camaro.
Yes.
That's the base. as the base engine for the redesigned 1982 Camaro and Pontiac Firebird.
Yep.
The 2.5 liter 4-cylinder Iron Duke was the smallest, least powerful, and most un-Camaro-like engine that could be, and like the California Corvette, it was connected to a low-tech 3-speed slush box. That's fucking depressing. So equipped, the Iron Duke Camaro had a 0 to 60 mile per hour acceleration of around 20 seconds. 10 seconds
Woo!
faster than the California.
Woo!
I think that was the right car. Anyways.
That's fast.
Which left... No, it's not. Which left the Camaro... Oh, well, okay, I see. You're joking. Okay.
Oh, my God, he's stupid today.
Yeah. Which left Camaro owners to drum their fingers while school buses rocketed past in a blur of yellow. So, again, fuel regulations.
2.4 liter. The Europeans could get 8,000 horsepower out of that.
Yes, they could. Isn't it funny that it took up until maybe like 5 years ago for American car companies to finally just bow down to the Europeans? Finally,
yep.
When it came to engines, transmissions, and
especially Duke apparently was
suspension. Especially suspension. Ooh.
Yeah. What's next?
Maserati Bit Turbo.
Bi-turbo
from 1984. Let me get this up on the screen. I pooped. It's actually a handsome little number, man, if you ask me.
Great. That's great that it's handsome. It's too bad it just never worked.
Bi-turbo is, of course, Italian for expensive junk. At least it is now, after Maserati tried to pass off this bitter heartbreak on wheels as a proper grand touring sedan. The Bi-turbo was the product of a desperate, underfunded company circling the drain of bankruptcy, and it shows. Everything that could leak, burn, snap, or rupture did so with the regularity of the anvil chorus. The collected service advisories would look like the Gutenberg Bible. The greater ignominy was the early 1990s Maserati TC, a version of the Chrysler LeBaron, a flaccid front-drive 4-cylinder loser-mobile. With the proud Maser trident on the nose. Finally, sir, have you no shame? And honestly, I got to go back to its looks. It is a really handsome car. Like,
okay.
I want it. It looks like it looks like a BMW, but with Italian styling.
Okay, well, you can have it, and you'll never get anywhere.
No, I understand that. It's just a shame. It's just a shame that such a cool-looking car is a piece of shit.
True. What's next?
Oh, you're no fun today.
Well, no, it's just I don't have anything else to say.
You're fucking boring.
What?
I don't know.
Pooping. And they're going back to green.
Okay. Okay. This looks like a cartoon car. Like it shouldn't be real. It looks like if you showed a picture of a supercar to an 8-year-old and then told them to draw their own supercar, that's what this looks like. Anyways, it is called the Mosler GTP from 1985.
I like Mosler.
Warren Mosler, a brilliant economist and investor, built his sports racer out of bits and parts that fell off the Big Three's table. A steering wheel from a minivan here, a Chrysler engine there, some mismatched gauges, but mostly what he did was to add lightness. The resulting fiberglass bodied car had a marvelous power to weight ratio, did so well in racing that it was eventually banned. Oh, interesting. Or it might have been that the course workers were suffering from post-traumatic stress from the sight of the thing. Mosler had thought of everything but a stylist. Yeah, it is ridiculous looking. And the pride and joy of this art capitalist looked like something from an East German kit car company. Truly one of the ugliest cars ever. The Mosler GTP proved once and for all that building a car is harder than it looks. I never really thought building a car looked easy. But okay.
Well, apparently it looks harder than you think.
No, it looks really fucking hard.
I like the Mosler, so, piss off.
I actually like that it looks like a cartoon. Like,
yeah.
It's ridiculous. Next. Because
it is a little bit goofy, but hey.
Because Elliot's all impatient today, we're going to go ahead and move on.
I'm not impatient. I said everything that I need to say about cars.
And everything you say.
Yeah.
The Yugo.
Woo.
The Yugo GV from 1985.
Woo, Yugo. I have a book on the Yugo.
Like the car?
Yugo, the rise and fall of the worst car ever sold. It's on Audible.
Okay. All right, let's read what they had to say out from Time Magazine.
All right.
Malcolm Bricklin, he of the Bricklin SV1, wouldn't be satisfied until he forced every American to walk to work. To that end, in 1985, he began importing the Yugo GV. I think I remember hearing about this recently, which turned out to be the Mona Lisa of bad cars. I always thought Mona Lisa was fucking dumb looking. But anyways, built in Soviet bloc Yugoslavia, the Yugo had the distinct feeling of something assembled at gunpoint. Interestingly, in a car where carpet was listed as a standard feature, the Yugo had a rear window defroster, reportedly to keep your hands warm while you pushed it. The engines went kablooey. The electrical system, such as it was, would sizzle and things would just fall off, Yugo or not. I like what he said. The Soviet bloc Yugoslavia had the distinct feeling of something assembled at gunpoint. Here's another commie car. And I think this is kind of relating to something else we're going to talk about in the next video.
The thing about the Yugo is, if it had worked, it would have been an amazing car. It was people's car.
Yeah. It was also a commie car. And I think it would be interesting to have a warehouse full of commie cars. There's a picture of two men lifting this car up. Just two dudes, just grabbing the bumper and picking it up from the rear.
But Scott, if it had worked, it would have been a great car.
It's a Chevette. It would
like
have been any of those. It's a Pinto.
If it had worked, it would have, actually, it's an old Fiat.
Yeah, but it's essentially the same thing.
But I'm just saying, if it had worked, if it had not fallen apart, it would have, been a great people's car.
This next vehicle that we're going to talk about, it may not have taken off, and it's an uncommon thing. People don't know about it, but I will defend it because I've seen plenty of reviews on this vehicle, and it looks like it's fucking badass. We are going to be speaking about the Lamborghini LM002 from 1986.
Okay.
Do you know what it is?
Yes, it's the Wehrmacht thing.
The Wehrmacht thing?
Read the fucking thing.
This from what I remember, is when the military was trying to look for an all-terrain vehicle, they optioned a bunch of companies. Lamborghini happened to be one of them.
That's why I jokingly called it Wehrmacht, even though it was Italian, not German.
And instead of this, they went with the Hummer. Let us read.
Let's read it.
This
it is great, by the way.
I do like it. It's awesome. This V12 powered super dune buggy gets on the list. Well, my list anyways. Purely because of its appalling clientele. The Rambo Lambo was the civilian version of a military vehicle that Lamborghini sold to those beacons of democracy, Saudi Arabia and Libya, among others. I like this guy. I like this guy. Oh my goodness. The luxurious LM002 appealed to spoiled young Saudi sheiks wanting to cross the sand to survey their oil field holdings. Uday Hussein, who is now dead, son of Saddam, had one which the U.S. military cheerfully blew up in 2004 during a test to simulate the effects of a car bomb. You know, fuck them for blowing that up. It's not the goddamn car's fault.
It is a super dune buggy, though.
Yeah, so?
It's a fucking thing. I want it.
I want it now. And it's Lamborghini. What the fuck? The LM002 is the forerunner of another large and unnecessary SUV that signals pure contempt for one's fellow man, the Hummer H2.
Even I can't justify that. Yes.
No, it's not a forerunner to the H2.
Actually, yes, it is.
It's a forerunner to the Hummer.
Well, they're saying that the civilian version is a forerunner to the H2.
Sure, fine.
Yeah.
Fine.
Because no one saw the H1. They only made a limited production of the H1, and then the H2 took off. And God,
I fucking hate that thing.
That thing's ugly. I love the H1 though.
The H1, you know,
it's stupid. It's stupid.
It's amazing though. It's like the look at here's some pathetic things. There's some truly pathetic things about the H2. Like there are things on the there are things on the H1 that are functional, like
go off road.
Well, that and there are functional things about the H1 that gave it a certain look that on the H2 are just now props.
It's just big.
I fucking hate the H2. Like, it really makes me mad that they went that way with it.
It's just big, and it doesn't even do what it's designed to do.
All they had to do was keep the same body and make it more luxurious. That's all they had to do.
We'll get back to the H2 later. Not to spoil it, but we'll get back to ranting about the H2 later.
Okay, because I can go on. I hate that.
Yeah, me too. But
it makes me mad.
Yeah, I actually drove in one, but we'll get to that in a minute. Next,
this one's rather mundane.
Okay,
it is from 1995, and it is a Ford, and it does Explorer because it is a Ford Explorer.
Well, I hate the Ford Explorer anyway.
The Ford Exploder. From 1995. How could the best-selling passenger vehicle in America 14 years running, the mother of all mom-mobiles, the beloved suburban schlepper of millions, wind up on this list? Forget about the whole Firestone tire controversy. I remember that.
I did too.
I vaguely remember it.
I remember it quite well, and I remember people making fun of the scaremongering on car shows.
I need to be refreshed on exactly what it all was. I vaguely remember it.
I'll give you a link later.
Anyways, in its very success, the Ford Exploder is responsible for setting this country on a spiral of vehicular obesity that we are still contending with today. I think it's getting better, to be honest. People, particularly women drivers, discovered that they liked sitting up high. my girlfriend Holly insisted that she must have a crew cab fucking Dodge Ram. Anyways.
Why?
I don't know.
Why? I mean,
she likes it though. It makes her happy. So whatever.
Does she do anything like remotely heavy duty with it?
Well, actually, we did do one heavy duty thing with it. We hauled a truck full of sand to her house so that we could create a sandbox for our daughter.
Well, that's decent, but that's not really heavy duty. You could have done that with anything. Unless you had a gigantic fucking sandbox.
I will say this. I am glad for her that she has something she wants and that she's happy with. But I have to be honest, Holly, you don't really need all that. Plus, the gas money. My goodness.
Oh, big wreck.
I mean, when I went and got my car, gas mileage was, anyways, never mind. We're going to read on.
I mean, okay, like, we have a big truck, but we towed things on trailers and things like that. And we have a Jeep, but we go off road. And I don't know. She
just thinks it's a pretty truck.
Oh yeah, that's the problem with my mother.
She just thinks it's pretty.
Whereas I'm like,
Anyways, people, particularly women drivers, discovered that they liked sitting up high. Even though more fuel-efficient minivans do the kid and cargo hauling duties better. People came to prefer the outdoorsy, go-anywhere image of SUVs. In other words, people became addicted to the pose. And as vehicles got bigger and heavier, buyers sought out even bigger vehicles to make themselves feel safe. Hello, Hummer. Yeah, the H2. Even though, never mind. We'll go back to that.
You know what that makes them? Posers.
I just bruised my knee slapping it so hard.
By the way, it wasn't a big wreck. I'm sorry. It was a couple of cars spinning, but I thought it was going to lead to a big wreck. But under yellow again.
Do you remember that decapitation wreck we saw? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
That was crazy. All of that we can lay at the overarching feet of the Ford Exploder. Now, is the Exploder responsible for all that, do you think? Like, is it the...
Yes. Because people bought it, and basically, it was... You read that it was the #1 selling passenger vehicle in America 14 years in a row. So basically what happened was, well, Ford's making this monster mobile. We have to top this. Well, let's make ours even bigger. And they were big. They were ugly. They didn't go off. Well, if they went off road, nobody actually took them off road.
No, I mean, none of these SUVs are really that good at it. The only one that is really good at it is why can't I name
certain types of Jeeps and Land Rovers?
The Range Rover, yeah, that thing.
And the Defender's even better, actually.
What's that?
The Defender's even better.
Toyota?
The Defender from Land Rover.
Oh, okay. I couldn't remember. I thought you were talking about a model from Toyota.
Yes. No, Land Rover Defender.
Okay, I don't know what that is, so I'll look it up.
It's the original Land Rover.
Oh. Well, shows what I know about Land Rover.
Because you're an idiot.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
No. Say it right. Say it right, Scott. I'm no stupid.
I'm not dumb. I'm stupid. There's a big difference.
What's next?
An electric vehicle.
Me no stupid. Ooh.
Yes, sir. An electric one. It is hideous. It is red or gray.
Okay, what car is this?
It's got an interior, and that's all I'll say about that. It is
what car is this?
GM EV1 from 1997. It apparently has no rear wheels. At least that's what they want you to think. The EV1 was a marvel of engineering. Absolutely the best electric vehicle anyone had ever seen. Built by GM to comply with California's zero emissions vehicle mandate, the EV1 was quick, fun, and reliable. It held out the promise that soon electric cars, charged from the grid with all sorts of groovy power sources like wind, and solar, could replace the smelly old internal combustion vehicle. And Elliot and I were just yelling at each other about this stuff. But anyway,
we'll get to that.
And therein lies the problem, the promise. In fact, battery technology at the time was nowhere near ready to replace the piston-powered engine. The early cars' lead acid bats and even the later nickel metal hydride batteries couldn't supply the range or durability required by the mass market. Yep. The car itself was a tiny, super light two-seater, not exactly what American consumers were looking for. And the EV1 was horrifically expensive to build, which was why GM's execs terminated the program. Handing detractors yet another stick to beat them with, GM, the company that had done more to advance EV technology than any other, became the company that killed the electric.
Good.
I bet you, though.
Fuck electric vehicles.
I bet you, though, that GM, it'll be a company like GM or GM themselves who hit that perfect recipe to make it go.
I so hope not.
It's gonna happen, dude. I mean,
no, it won't. Not as long as I have breath in my lungs.
I just don't see why you're against it so much. Like, I don't think it will kill internal combustion.
Well, yeah, but electric cars are just fucking boring. They're boring. They're appliances. It depends on what.
It depends on what kind of features it has, what it's built for.
Yes. You're right. Electric cars aren't boring. I love radial control vehicles. I have a huge passion for RC. RC is fun.
Imagine that. Imagine driving your car with an RC controller. That'd be fucking crazy.
Oh, son of a but you know what happened is I just go like completely like ape shit if I wasn't in the car. I'm like, no, crowd of people.
Zoom, bitch.
Yeah, right. No, but the thing is that I find electric cars mind-bogglingly boring. I mean,
I think I'm excited by. I know you like the sounds and that, but I'm excited by the advancement in technology. I think it's great.
We'll get to that after I eat because we're going to finish this off, and then I'm going to go eat, and then we'll do the part 2, which is us just arguing.
Looking at a purple car that we actually talked about, I think, in the first part of this series.
Okay.
It is a Plymouth. It is from 1997.
We have to read this. I know I gave you but we have to read this because it's near and dear to my heart.
And it is a Prowler.
And it looks great, doesn't it?
Fucking sweet car. It is.
It really looks great. Let's read this.
Just real quick. It reminds me of really old hot rod style cars.
Yep, that's what it's supposed to look like.
It looks classy. It looks classy as fuck.
Yeah.
I want it to sleep with me. I want to have its babies.
Yeah.
But then I open its hood and see that it's got a little pissy engine, and I don't like them anymore.
Let's read it.
By the mid-1990s, car designers had powerful new computer tools at their disposal, allowing them to pursue low-volume, high-zoot projects that before would never have recovered the development costs. The Prowler was one such project, inspired, if not plagiarized, by a retro roadster like the Chip Foose. Chip Foose! I gotta look at that. Hold on. Dude! Chip Foose.
Now they're back to green, and that was a hell of a good restart. Whoa!
That is a fucking sweet car. Anyways. Oh, he was the designer. Oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah, duh.
Duh. The Prowler looked like a dry lake speedster. The Prowler looked like a dry lake speedster from the 22nd century with an open wheel front end and low slung hot rod fuselage. Except they forgot to make it a hot rod. Yeah, that's the problem. Intent on containing costs, Chrysler struck its standard issue 3.5 liter V6 under the hood. Good for a rather less than spectacular 250 horsepower. It's not as maddening as the H2, but that's maddening.
250 in like a car that weighs like 5 pounds would be amazing. 250 in a car that weighs almost 3,000 pounds.
250 in a car that in a car that looks like that is bullshit.
Yeah,
it's the even though I still love it and I still love this, but the God damn it, the Back to the Future car. I can't think of the name.
DeLorean.
The DeLorean has the same problem. It's bullshit that it doesn't have the power that it looks like it has.
Yeah.
The Prowler didn't even have a manual transmission.
Nope.
Which that wouldn't bother me so much as long as the engine was good.
You need a manual if you have a car that looks like that.
I understand. Yes, okay, I agree. I'm just saying in general, as long as the engine is good, I'm okay with automatics. Anyways, which made it almost impossible to lay down the requisite strips of hot rubber. The result was a flaccid little jerk of a car that threatened much but delivered little. And that is so true. I've personally seen one of these in person maybe 2 or 3 times. They're so gorgeous. And it's awesome. Like, they're just a pleasure to be around. They just put a smile on your face.
Until they actually accelerate.
It looks like when you start this car, it should have the most beautiful engine note. It looks like it should go from 0 to 60 in like 3 seconds. But I bet it's more like, we'll look that up later. It probably is like in the 8 to 9 range, I bet.
Yeah, I'm not. But basically, it's just style over substance, I guess. But, oh, what a great car. It's great styling.
You know what we should look up is people who've customized their own and dropped like a V8 in it.
Yeah, we'll do that after these. Oh, duh. Right. We'll do this after the...
Okay, let's get through these. Copy.
What's next?
Copy and paste. Oh, I've seen this on Top Gear before. It is hideous. It is a 4-door.
Wait, hang on a second. There's only 2 laps to go on this race, and there's actually a battle coming on for the lead.
Well, I'm going to let you announce it then.
Let me just hear the... Okay.
Oh, the interior is
hideous.
hideous.
Majeski's leading. Dane Lee's in 4th.
Oh, my God.
No, Michael Self is leading with 1 to go. Majeski's in 2nd.
How is this car real? Someone souped it up. Oh, there's a tuner version. That's great. Well, you should announce what's happening, man.
And Michael Self.
Just, dude.
Michael Self wins. Okay.
That was
Ty Majeski's in 2nd. I thought Majeski had it.
Can we move on with this car? It's ridiculous.
Okay, what's the car?
It is called the Fiat Multipla from 1998, and it is ridiculous. Multipla is a time-honored name for Fiat. The company made an adorable microvan by that name in the 1950s and 60s, based on the Fiat 600. The Multipla that appeared in 1998 was anything but adorable. With its strange high-beam lenses situated at the bottom of the A-pillars, yes, it looks ridiculous, base of the windshield. The Multipla looked like it had several sets of eyes, like an irradiated tadpole. Yeah, it has this weird proboscis out front with a bulky glass cabin in back, and the whole thing was situated on dwarvish wheels.
Yeah,
I rented one of these in Europe, and it worked beautifully, but it was just so tragic to look at. It's true. And there's a tuner version. I saw a picture of a tuned up version of this car. Someone dropped a fucking big motor and shit.
I saw a Morris Mini or Morris Minor with a big V8 in it.
I am a big fan of dropping ridiculous engines and transmissions and suspensions in cars that do not deserve them.
Like
I'm a big fan of doing that.
Mark Mazda 3.
Like your commie car would be a wonderful car to do that with.
The Mazda 3 with the V8 in it.
What's the commie car you like so much?
Turbo.
That would be wonderful to drop like a V8 in.
Let's we'll look up the Mark Mazda V8 after this. We have a lot of shit to look up.
I rented one of these in Europe. We already did that. The Multipla and the Aztek and the Consular GTP reminds us that cars cannot just work beautifully. They have to be beautiful. At least they can't look like this.
I'll defend the Mosler, though. I will defend the Mosler. Pontiac Aztek and this one, fine, I'll make fun of, but I will defend the Mosler. What's next?
You know, I got a closer look at an Aztek recently, and yeah, they're ugly, but they're actually pretty cool, man. Like,
it looks like it should be towed behind something.
I know, but like once you get inside them,
I don't know if anyone got inside. I think people just looked at it, but oh my god.
Yeah, well, yeah, they did not do well with the styling. I admit.
What's next here?
What I was going to say though is, if you like camping, that thing is great. But anyways,
okay. Well, I'll take your word for that.
Another mundane kind of selection here. Let me do the screen share. This is much better to look at than the Multipla, I must say.
Okay.
It is from the year 2000. It is a Ford. And it is an Excursion.
Oh my god.
GM had its H2.
Yeah.
Ford had the Excursion.
Yeah.
A Mount Rushmore sized SUV based on the company's Super Duty truck platform.
Yep.
Dubbed the Ford Valdez by the Sierra Club. The Excursion was a passenger vehicle of gobsmacking proportions. It weighed 7 motherfucking thousand motherfuck you pounds.
Which, okay, if this was a truck, fine, because we have a Super Duty, but it's an SUV. It's supposed to be a passenger car.
Right. But it also has the chassis and all the underpinnings of their crew cab fucking truck, Super Duty.
Yeah.
So it's gonna weigh 7,000 motherfucking pounds.
But I'm just saying that's extreme for this.
If you loaded it up with all adults, that number would probably shoot up to around 8,200 pounds.
Yeah.
Jesus. It measured 19 foot long and stood 6.5 feet tall. At the time, Ford argued that many of its customers, ranchers, farmers, tugboat enthusiasts, needed a vehicle this big with over 10,000 pound towing capacity. Well, that is actually pretty goddamn cool.
Yeah, but it's a freaking SUV. You could do that with a truck.
I know.
For less
Maybe that was true, but that didn't keep Susie homemakers from driving them to the mall.
That's the problem. That's the problem is, okay, you get like a Ford Super Duty, and it's basically it's made for towing and it's made for hauling, and Joanne Average isn't going to. But this thing,
you know what? I'm going to keep reading. To its dubious credit, the Excursion pioneered the use of the blocker bar, a kind of under-vehicle roll bar designed to keep the Excursion from rolling over anything unfortunate enough to be hit by it.
like cars,
Like any car,
children,
or babies, or
puppies,
or kitties, or blind people. The Simpsons wrote the Excursion's cultural obituary in the episode where Marge buys the Canyonero. Can you name the truck with four-wheel drive? Smells like a steak and seats 35? Canyonero. Okay, I don't know Simpsons all that well, so.
Well, that was the joke, is that Marge, the housewife, the mom, buys this fucking ginormous beast.
When I was trading my vehicle in for this current vehicle I have now, they give me a loaner car. It was not a Ford Excursion. It was a GMC Denali, which is the same thing. It's the same thing.
The fact that the GMC Denali can't actually do anything.
Well, but it's essentially the same thing. And I looked at them and I'm like, why are you giving me this for a loaner car? Like, just give me a fucking car. Like, I don't want this. Anyways, it was ridiculous to drive.
And the Excursion, by the way, had a huge V10 engine in it.
Okay, the dealership is about 3 miles away from where I live. Okay, so I went back and forth a couple of times over 2 days. I had to put $10 worth of gas in it. That doesn't sound like much, but we're talking about I traveled maybe at most 40 miles in the thing.
Yeah.
I put $10 of gas in it.
Yeah.
Jesus.
But yeah, I could justify the truck thing, but I couldn't justify the Excursion because Susie Homemaker ain't gonna drive a Ford Super Duty.
Yeah, I agree.
But just imagine. Think the size of Super Duty swarming the streets, millions of them.
And I honestly do think, from what I see around here, and I live in Hillbilly Central.
Yes, you do.
That it's getting better. Like, people are sick of paying, for 10 miles per gallon.
Let's hope. What's next of the?
This is not a mundane car, and it is not something I expect to be on here. It is a Jaguar XType from 2001.
I don't like the XType.
It's a beautiful car.
I don't like it.
A business case is not the same as wisdom. Certainly, Jaguar needed an entry luxury model to compete against the BMW 3 Series and the Mercedes-Benz C-Class. Yes, the company, owned by Ford, had access to a very successful world car platform, the Mondeo, which replaced... Tell me what it replaced.
We've already gone through this here.
Did we go through that in the first video?
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. The Ford Escort. Anyways, which Americans knew as the Ford Contour. Yeah. There was money to be saved, but in its attempt to turn the front drive compact car into an all-wheel drive sports sedan, Jaguar ran smack into the limits of platforming and platform engineering.
Stop saying Jaguar. Jesus Christ.
Jaguar.
That's better, yes.
I don't care.
The result,
the result was the English version of the Cadillac Cimarron.
Yeah.
A tarted up insult to a once proud marquis and a financial disaster for the company. Yep. It hardly matters that the XType was not that bad a car. Young, affluent buyers had the feeling they were somehow being grifted. They were. So I didn't really catch what the problem was.
The problem was basically you're paying a lot of money for a beefed up Mondeo.
As long as it's actually beefed up and actually is a better vehicle, and
It's not though. It's the same. It's just extended. You're paying money for an extended Mondeo.
It's better looking than a Mondeo.
When you could pay the same money for better BMWs and Mercedes and things like that,
and actually have a legitimate, unique vehicle that was made specifically.
Whereas if you buy this, you're buying a Mondeo. You're buying a Mondeo on steroids.
Yeah, true. As, you know, if it was priced different, it wouldn't be such a bad idea, though.
It wasn't even that bad of a car. Just no one liked it, and everyone laughed, and no one cared. So they stopped making it. And I think it kind of ugly, but hey.
Jags, to me, nowadays, they came out with that little sports coupe maybe 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
That thing was fucking sweet.
Yeah, true.
But their sedans and stuff, I'd much rather get a Mercedes or BMW.
True.
Much rather.
This is true. I cannot argue with you, even though I want to. Urgh.
You're wrong. Man, there are times wherever conversation we're having, you'll just say the word no, and it fucking cracks me up. Kills me. There's a Pontiac.
Oh, boy.
From 2001.
Sinful. It's a sinful car, that is.
It is the Pontiac Aztek.
Yay! They look like something need to be towed behind something.
I need to comment on its looks. Okay. Its original launch had this disgusting black plastic underbelly that went around the entire base of the car.
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
And it's hideous. Later models fixed it. They didn't remove the plastic. They just painted it the same color as the car. But if you got up really close, you could tell. The other thing I think that people have a problem with, there's two things. Pontiac's signature grille, okay? That part looks great. It's right above it. There's these two little pussy little vents that make it look retarded. It makes it look like it's growing. It makes it look like one of those guys who grows a mustache but can't. Really, it looks real. Ugh. And the other thing,
so basically,
is the rear of this vehicle.
Yeah.
If they had just taken the criticism and fixed that rear end, I don't think it would have failed.
No, but they didn't. Let's read about it.
The Pontiac Aztek from 2001. I was in the audience at the Detroit Auto Show the day GM unveiled the Pontiac Aztek.
I can only imagine.
And I will never forget the gasp that the audience made. Holy hell! This car should not have been more. This car could not have been more instantly hated if it had a swastika tattoo on its forehead.
Which would be interesting.
If there was a car that used a swastika as its badge, that would be fucking sweet.
The fucking Use'mobile.
Yeah. In later intervals with GM designers who, for decency's sake, will remain unnamed. It emerged that the Aztek design had been fiddled with, fussed over, cost-shaved, and otherwise compromised until the tough, cool-looking concept had been reduced to a bulky, plastic-clad mess.
Yeah, that was a cool concept.
I want to see the concept car. I've never seen it. I will after we're done. I will.
Just look it up right now. Here.
Okay, give me a second. On the screen share so everybody can see.
Aztek concept.
I'm doing it. Fuck yeah, that's way better. What the fuck?
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Okay. There's still two things I don't like about it. The scraggly little mustache thing is still there. And the rear end, although better, still looks ridiculous.
Yeah, but if they put that into production.
And the problem with the rear end, there's also a functional problem with it. Sitting in the driver's seat and looking back, you can't see out the back window because there's a fucking big beam right across your plane of vision. So if anybody's behind you more than 10, 20 feet, you can't see them. Anyway, but I will say this concept car is way better. Like, it's because they got rid of the ground effects. They have these two cool fog lamps on the front. The rear view mirrors are really cool. Man, that's disappointing. Anyways, let's continue.
Let's continue.
A classic case of losing the plot. The Aztek violates one of the principal rules of car design. We like cars to look like us. It does look like a person. With its multiple eyes and supernumerary nostrils. Yeah, that's my problem with is the nostrils. The Aztek looks deformed and scary. Something that dogs bark at and cathedrals employ to ring bells at. The shame is, under all that ugliness, there was a useful, competent crossover. And that's what I was trying to say to you earlier. Like, once you sit in the car and discover all the little ins and outs of it, it's a fucking cool car.
What I don't, I fine, but like, you know, the Mosler was a great little racing car. Ugly as hell, but a great car.
Dude, I'm even at the point where I might even buy one at some point because I like going camping a lot. And
there are better cars to go camping in.
Yeah, but this thing has a built-in tent.
If you can find one, I'm sure it won't be that hard to find one.
People hate these fucking things. Of course you can find one.
Okay.
All right. We're going to move on. It is depressing seeing that concept, though. Anyways.
Yeah.
Ooh. Germans. That's a hint. Germans. We got Germans.
Swastika Mobile. Okay, what is it?
Give me a second. It is gorgeous. I will hand them that. No, I won't say gorgeous. It's handsome. It's handsome.
Okay.
It is a BMW.
It already qualifies for my shit list.
It is the BMW 7 Series from 2002.
Oh, God.
Let's find out what the fuck is wrong with this.
Yes.
The Munich company's flagship sedan was nothing less than everything the company knew about car building, and that was quite a lot. Perfectly constructed, astonishingly fast, and utterly besotted with technology, the big, gracious 7 Series had but two flaws. The first was... Hold on, I lost my place. The first was something called iDrive, a rotary dial joystick controller situated on the center console, through which drivers adjusted dozens of vehicle settings, from climate, navigation, and audio functions to things like the sound of the door chime. The reason for iDrive and similar systems is that designers were running out of room for switches and instruments. The trouble was that the iDrive was hard to work. Damn near impossible, in fact. Drivers spent many hair-pulling minutes driving to figure out how to add radio presets, for example, or turn up the air conditioning. When confronted with complaints, BMW engineers said, with barely disguised contempt, "The system works perfectly. This is no problem." Since 2002, BMW has gradually improved iDrive to make it more intuitive, but it's still a pain. The other flaw? the silly, bubbly butt called the Bangle Bustle after lead designer Chris Bangle. Okay, let me relook at this car, and I have something to say about the technology thing. Okay, the butt of this car. It doesn't offend me. Like, I don't get it. I don't see why it upsets people. It's no bigger than... Anyways, the technology inside of cars, like you have been saying that cars are becoming an appliance.
Yeah.
Even more so because of this infotainment business, okay?
Yeah, yeah.
It needs to be done away with because it's not safe.
It needs to be done away with.
First of all, it's not safe. Those things should not be allowed to function while the car is being driven.
Yeah, but it won't be done away with because nobody will buy. You know, people will revolt and go to the people buying. You know, who aren't taking it away.
Let me ask these idiots: what happens if your BMW and its infotainment screen and its technology gets a bad bug and you can no longer access the climate control or to adjust the fucking suspension settings or anything like that? You know, now you have a piece of shit car. They can't just remove that infotainment thing and then put in dials for you, like analog dials.
People don't want to think, Scott. You know that.
The car I got now is almost too much, but it's still got it's still analog. Okay. There is nothing wrong with motherfucking dials that you turn by hand.
Yeah, I know.
This is a problem. This is a big problem. Like, imagine if you were a cell phone enthusiast or owner and you bought a cell phone and you knew you were going to own this thing for at least 5 years, but the cell phone never updates. So the software that's on it,
getting into updates now.
The software that's on it is what's going to be on it in 5 fucking years.
Getting into updates now.
Oh, I'm sure they are because they have to. But, oh, we're moving on. We're moving on.
Come on.
Oh, I'm offended. I am doing the screen share part. Ugh. Don't look directly at it, folks. You'll die. Oh, it's so fucking bullshitty gimmick.
Come on.
Such a goddamn gimmick and rip off.
Okay, what is it?
It is the Hummer H2 from 2003. Yes.
I actually sat in it. We did a little off-road course.
And the picture of it on the Time Magazine article has that orange color that is I'm a white girl who tans too often color.
Yes, you are, Scott.
Yes, I am a white girl who tans too often.
Yes, I am too. Let's read a savaging.
One struggles to think of a worse vehicle at a worse time. Introduced shortly after 9/11, an event whose causes were tangled in America's unquenchable thirst for oil, the Hummer H2 sent all the wrong signals. By the way, I just remembered Jeremy Clarkson, of all people, I believe enjoyed this vehicle, and it made me want to kick his fucking ass.
No, I get why you didn't. No, well, he said he enjoyed it sarcastically. He said it.
I don't know. I will have to watch that episode again.
He basically was like, "Look, it's big, but it's just a family sedan," and that was my problem with it was that it was a family. It should have been the H1. It should have been a Mongomobile.
He said it was beautiful though, and fuck him. That thing is not beautiful.
He was being sarcastic.
Better have been. I need to watch that episode again. I don't know. I love Jeremy Clarkson, but I don't always agree with him. Anyways, the Hummer H2 sent all the wrong signals. It was/is arrogantly huge, overtly militaristic. I don't care about that stuff. That's not.
Well, the problem is it's overtly militaristic with no function.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Besides, your civilians, really? Do you really need that thing?
If you live in an area like I do and you own land, then you can have fun with it.
There's something called a Jeep, though, that does it just as well. Actually, no, I'm sorry, it does it about 20.
Yeah, but if you have an H1, you're telling me you wouldn't enjoy the hell out of driving that thing?
I still think an H1 has its limits, though.
Well, anyways, the point is, if you live in an area and have plenty of acres to tear up, an H1 would be fucking great to drive around. Anyways.
I'm just thinking, would it be better than, say, a little side-by-side?
Maybe not.
I mean,
I don't know.
Because a Razor, or one of those old, like, you know what I get if I had that? I get something from, like, the 50s and 60s. It's held together with rust but never fucking breaks down.
Like an old military Jeep?
Yeah, something like that. Just like it looks like it's held together with rust, but for some reason it can always do its job. Or like an old Land Rover, like from the 60s.
An old Land Rover would be cool. An old Toyota would be cool.
Yeah. Anyway, let's keep reading. As
a vehicle choice, the H2 was a spiteful reactionary repost to notions that, maybe we all shouldn't be driving tanks that get 10 miles per gallon.
I even have conservatives say, you know what? That's pretty much true.
Well, it's not if you're if you're a good conservative, I would imagine you'd want to conserve motherfucking gas.
Because that was really big with the like Bush Republican. I
always thought the Hummer was more of a ghetto thug kind of thing.
Yeah, for about 2 minutes until but the people who I knew who had them were Bush Republicans who were, I ain't giving up I'm going to drive a Hummer just like my friends in the Iraq War. Of course, I didn't actually go serve in the war.
Except that the H2 was a glorified fucking SUV, and that's it.
It was a Tahoe, wasn't it? It was a Tahoe.
It's a piece of shit. Fuck that car. Not surprisingly, the Green Nicks struck back. A Hummer dealership was torched in Southern California. Good. Fuck the H2.
See, I respect the environmentalists who like torch shit. I mean, I don't actually agree with them, but I respect them.
I don't, because they're so hypocritical. Like, let's protect the environment. Let's protect the environment by burning down buildings. Great idea.
Scott, I don't care if they're hypocritical or not. I just like to see things burn.
They're bitching about the H2 getting 10 miles per gallon, but they also drive old fucking VW buses and shit that get like 2 miles per gallon.
Well,
or they take those conversion vans that families take on vacations and they turn them into their little house, But anyways, let's continue. Not surprisingly, the Green Nicks struck back. A Hummer dealership was torched in Southern California. The H2 was also a PR catastrophe for GM, who happened to be repossessing and crushing the few EV1 electric cars at the time. Oh. It all contributed.
Crush my electric car.
Yeah, we're going to crush them electric cars with our H2. It all contributed to the GM's emerging image as the Dick Cheney of car companies.
See, I disagree with that because GM never shot a guy. And then GM never shot a guy and then had a friend apologize. And then had the same guy apologize to him. Interesting story about GM really quick, Scott. GM had sued the U.S. government for bombing their factory in Dresden during World War II and won.
Well, I mean, if I were the government, I would just say, here's half of the damage costs and shut the fuck up.
Yeah, but they actually won the lawsuit.
Yeah, I understand that. And what I was going to say, in terms of political Freemason asshole motherfuckers, Dick Cheney is like my favorite one. He is just such a cold dick.
Yeah, yeah.
Like you can tell that
He lives up to his name.
You can tell that dude is extremely smart and vicious. You can tell.
He lives up to his name.
Anyways, the dude won't die.
What?
The dude won't die either.
Nope. We're getting down to the last couple ones here.
Yes, and I am doing the screen share. Give me a second. For all the people.
For all the little people out there in YouTube land.
I've seen this car truck thing several times.
I know what it is, too. It's the SSR.
It's dumb. It's stupid.
It's stupid.
And it's moronic. And it's...
ugly, and I don't like it. And please read about it.
The Chevy SSR from 2004. It's surprising, considering that Chrysler and GM are in the same town, that GM didn't learn from the Plymouth Prowler episode. When GM decided to kick up some custom retro mojo, it commissioned the Chevy SSR, an awesome-looking, awesome-looking hot rod pickup truck with the composite body panels and a slick convertible top.
I guess it does kind of look kind of cool.
No, it doesn't. Fuck that thing.
With the top down, it looks kind of like...
It looks like it would be fun to drive. I'll hand it that much. It looks like it. Alas, the chassis and mechanicals for the SSR were borrowed from GM's corporate midsize SUV program.
Yep.
Making the putative performance machine heavy, underpowered, and unforgivably lazy.
It needs to be light. You need a light.
That car is heavy. That vehicle is heavy.
Yep.
That boggles my mind. Like, how could you not in that boardroom meeting go, wait a second, we need to use, if we're going to use a template from one of our existing range, we're not using the SUV program. We're going to be using like the Chevy Malibu or something like that.
Because it would probably take too much to downsize. So why not just use an SUV? We have a bunch of them here. It's cheap and.
Well, look at the result though. It failed because fuck.
Yeah, I know it. I'm just saying that was their mindset.
It was wrong. Making the putative performance underpowered, unforgivably lazy. It was no more hot rod than Britney is the next Helen Mirren. I don't get that because I don't know who they're talking about. In the next couple of years, Chevy amped up the SSR, but by then the credibility was gone. The SSR also violated, by the way, going back, car companies always do that when they have some kind of fancy project that they want to sell and it fails, they just throw more horsepower in it.
Which may even work, but it's too little too late. Anyway.
Mm-hmm. The SSR also violated a principle of hot rodding. Hot rods are homemade subversions of the existing order. Mechanical folk art. There is no such thing as a factory hot rod. Seems obvious in retrospect. Absolutely true.
Unless,
Now, what they could have done if they wanted to actually hot rod something, it still wouldn't technically be a hot rod, but sell it as a kit. So that
old muscle cars used to have they would take it to, a shop and it would be a factory authorized shop, but they would do shit with it. They would put in a bigger engine.
That was it, by the way. We finished the list.
Yes, I know we did. I recognize it as the last car. That was a good list.
Yes, it was. It was fun.
Not every car I necessarily agreed with.
I wish I would have written down some of the side notes we wanted to talk about because I forget everything now.
Well, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about because I'm about to go and eat. So
before you go, I am going to write a couple things down so that I look them up. Give me a second. I know that we wanted to talk
Plymouth Prowler V8.
Yes.
Mechanized death.
Hold on. I'm writing. Mechanized death Electric versus.
I see.
Yeah. Okay, there was other cars though too. Commie cars.
Yeah, I'll have a think. I'll have a think about other stuff and get back to you on it.
Go ahead, and I'll figure some shit out.
We should talk about military civilians military vehicles like the one anyone like the Mini
Hummer. We will talk. We should actually talk about the initial stage of that when Lamborghini built that thing.
Right, and I want to make fun of the H3 as well, which we haven't talked about, which is basically just a truck.
Wait, I didn't know. There is an S3?
H3.
An H3? There is one?
Yeah, it's basically just a fucking truck. They got smaller.
Hummer H3. What the fuck, man? Seriously? A smaller one?
Yeah.
Okay, on the wheel, the actual wheel, there's that little nub that all Hummers have, even the H1 had.
Yeah.
On the H1, that was actually a functional part of the wheel. I don't remember exactly what it did. I think it was something to do with locking in the four-wheel drive.
Yeah.
But now it's just cosmetic, and that really annoys me. That's like very annoying. But anyways, go ahead and eat, and I'll think of some shit we can talk about.
I'll keep this on until I go in.
Oh, okay. So military versus consumer.
Such as the Mini Moke, which is my favorite car ever.
What is it?
Mini Moke.
M-O-K-E?
M-O-K-E.
All right. Lambo. The H, the Hummer. I'm just going to write the Hummer because the H1 is the only one.
Well, we can talk about all of its permutations. And I'd like to shit on the Aztek a little bit more.
Okay. Next page. Pontiac. By the way, Pontiac as a name for a car company is such a cool fucking name.
I love it.
And their
cars.
And their insignia, the Delta with the cross. That thing is fucking cool, man.
Yep. They keep saying they're gonna bring Pontiac back.
It'll be owned by, it won't be. You know what they do now? They actually do some kind of little things. One of the coolest things they do is just a cosmetic thing. Yeah. They take a modern Camaro and paint it up like a Firebird with the big flaming chicken on the hood and everything.
Yeah, I love Firebird.
Dude, that's fucking sweet. I love that car too. That's another topic. Underpowered, bad ass looking cars. Like Firebird. Like
Iron Duke.
Like what's another one?
The Corvette California.
Corvette.
I mean, they're all underpowered for the same damn. The Prowler.
Yeah, but I want to talk about specific cars. I have one in mind. I can't think of the goddamn name of it.
Okay.
Son of a bitch. Anyways, I'll think of more on that one. What else?
I don't know, and of course we'll just improv shit as we go.
Okay, but there's got to be more.
But I'm just saying, leave room for improv.
Sure. I'm just going to jot down some things though.
And if you think of it while I go, then
economy class cars. That's a great topic. I know people in car culture have been brainwashed to not want to talk about them, but I think economy class vehicles are what makes it possible for a company like Ferrari to exist. Without the interest in the economy class cars to pay $15,000 for a car that's going to last 6 to 7 years. There is no Mustang. There is no Corvette.
Yeah,
there is no.
I'd like to talk a little bit about Porsche and why they fucking broke my heart when they made the Cayenne and the.
Okay, so
What's your opinion on the MX-5? The Mazda
MX-5. Let me make sure I'm thinking of the right one. Mazda MX-5. Is this a brand new one? It looks brand new.
It's the old Miata.
Okay, so I'm just looking at it.
It has a reputation for being a chick car, quote unquote.
Now, okay, hold on, time out. It looks like a girl car. I know it's not, though. I know it's not. And
it's actually a really light. It's actually the new generation sort of British sports cars.
It's a great car. It always has been. It's one of those cars that you get in, and yes, it's not going to accelerate 0 to 60 in 2 seconds, but it's going to feel like you are. It will feel like you are, and because it has such a short wheelbase, that based on the physics alone, you can take corners like a champ.
There's just one problem. I can barely fit in this son of a bitch.
Yeah, well, they're tiny. Speaking of tiny, I saw a Japanese little sports car that they, at the time this thing was built, they had similar kind of regulations on emissions.
Yeah.
So the guy, whoever designed this thing, just instead of putting a traditional 4 or 6 or 8 cylinder engine in it, used a 2-stroke and got around that law.
Nice.
And I'll have to look it up. And it's got sports suspension. It's everything a sports car should be, only it's super duper tiny. It's even smaller than the Mazda.
I probably wouldn't be able to fit in that son of a bitch.
The guy who tested it, he was able to get in it, but that's it. Like, he couldn't move around in it or anything. And watching him get out of it was hilarious.
I'm going to be here for a while, people.
Mm. Oh, another thing we can talk about is something we touched on briefly is the reason cars are so unaffordable is because of all that stupid technology they are putting in it. They're almost, okay, you might be able to afford one, but have fun maintaining that thing over 5 years. Have fun.
I mean, I pretty much just let the technology go to waste. So
I am going to be a proponent of basically protesting this shit by saying, do not buy a car past a certain year, whatever that year might be. I don't know yet. But do not buy a car unless it's got analog technology in it. Just don't do it.
Just buy a Ural. Just buy a Ural sidecar, everyone.
Just buy a Ford Tempo, everyone.
No, buy a Ural sidecar.
Yeah, well, not everybody can. I'm imagining that thing is probably pretty expensive because it's such a niche market.
It's about 15,000.
That is pretty That's pretty goddamn expensive, man. For
a bike, but
it's not Harley prices. But by the way, fuck Harley. Like, I just don't like them. I
have a love-hate relationship with them.
I like the image. I like
the sound.
The sound. I like the culture. I hate their business practices and the way they think they can. Well, they can, obviously, but it's going to go away. They think they can charge, $30,000 for a fucking motorcycle. Fuck you.
Well, they've been doing that for the last 20 years, and it hasn't gone away.
I know, well, but I guarantee you that's going down and down and down.
We'll see. But I'm just saying, so the Ural, 16,000, not bad.
It's not bad considering you get a motorcycle and a sidecar.
And there's no technology.
And it's retro. They've never upgraded it.
It's retro. Fucking Hitler looked at it and went, wow. I was watching a review of it, and the guy said, I'm just waiting for a guy from Russia saying, that looks like something I had in my younger days.
Yeah, I mean, it's old. That design has never changed.
70 years old.
I looked up a little bit about it. I don't,
Yeah.
but I still would, I am not a motorcycle guy though. Like,
Yeah.
I don't like them.
Because you're gay.
No, it's because, here's the reason. It's because I can do the same thing in a car that I can in a motorcycle. Safer. And that's it, really.
Who wants to be safe? We don't live in a safe world. It's supposed to be more dangerous. I'm tired of this fucking safe world.
No, I'd rather have airbags and
live back. Fuck airbags. Live back in the 40s, 50s, dude.
No, I'm good.
Take some risks.
Well, I take calculated risks, and one of those risks is not getting on a bicycle that goes 80 miles an hour.
I don't take calculated risks. I take risks.
Okay, now I will say this. When it comes to motorcycles, I prefer the cruisers far over crotch rockets.
Good God, man. You are boring.
Crotch rockets.
And you call me lame for thinking Ferraris were meh.
Crotch rockets are, it's how you sit upon them. It's just completely unsafe. Like,
you'd be surprised how many. I mean,
just think about it, dude. Like, you're laying down on the thing, basically.
Yeah.
And it goes 200 miles an hour.
Well, you don't go 200 miles an hour on the street.
But still, those things are ridiculous.
I mean, yeah, but that's the point of it. It's not supposed to be. I mean,
I understand. It's just not something for me. I don't want it.
I'd rather have a fast bike than a fast car. I mean, a fast car, yeah, but the fast bike, you get more of a, I don't know, more of a speed thing. Besides the safety gear and shit that you have to wear. I mean, really.
Yeah, but still, I'm just not ever going to be a motorcycle guy.
That's because, you're lame.
Going back to the military versus consumer, and just big cars, that might be what we talk about instead, is just huge fucking vehicles. The Mercedes-Benz G-Wagon.
Oh, that's fucking piece of shit.
Just the G63 6x6.
It's huge, but it doesn't do anything.
Well, it gets through sand really well.
No big deal, but it can't climb mountains.
That's what it was made for, is sand.
Yeah, but like the Land Rover can climb fucking mountains. And
I saw a fire truck the other day that was fucking amazing.
Look up Pinsgauer.
Here it is. I found it.
It's
the Bulldog. This thing is so cool.
Pinsgauer.
Spell it.
Oh, fuck, I can't spell it.
P-E-N-S.
P-I-N-S-G something.
Yeah, that's a common sight in a lot of overseas militaries, yes.
Yes, I want one.
They're cool. You know what else is really fucking cool? Hovercrafts.
I want a hovercraft.
Especially the big fucking ones. The ones like that Great Britain used to ferry people from Great Britain to France. Those things are sweet. They no longer use those, which is stupid.
What else? Snowmobiles.
Those things are cool. I like snowmobiles. I like razors. I like four-wheelers. Those are awesome. I just don't like two-wheeled vehicles.
Four-wheelers, if you crash on a four-wheeler, you're just as much getting it as...
Well, of course, but you're still more stable than a dirt bike.
Not really.
Yes, you are.
If you know how to ride them, if you know how to, well, yes. If you're a fucking idiot, yes, you're. But if you know how to ride them, then
you are inherently more stable on a four-wheeled vehicle than you are on a two-wheeled.
yes. But a two-wheel vehicle takes skill to ride.
Yeah, and a skill that is dangerous to acquire.
Fine.
I've had two friends die on all-terrain vehicles. One was a dirt bike, and the other one was a four-wheeler. The dirt bike guy, he died because he wanted to ramp a train track crossing, and well, guess what? There was a motherfucking train there, and he got hit. My other friend died on a four-wheeler because the girl driving it went off-road and flipped it forwards. Okay, and the back of the four-wheeler crushed my friend's skull in.
Ouch.
Mm-hmm.
Who the fuck on a train track?
He lived in a real dingy. Well, he didn't live there. His family lived there, but his cousins lived there. And I could try to explain it. There's the train track that runs through the town, and keep in mind when I say town, I'm talking there are a few trailer homes.
Yeah,
a few homes. Yeah. And the train track is covered by trees. So you can't you could not see the train. It is possible. So he's zimping along. He's going to ramp this crossing, which has a built up kind of reinforced concrete ramp, basically. And yeah, he got hit.
And that's why you always stop before you go to. Well, if you can't see the train tracks, you should always stop before you.
Well, I mean, obviously he's dead. What he should have done is irrelevant. I mean, it's obvious what he should have done, but
what he should have done was smoked a lot of PCP.
Something funny about train tracks. Another funny story about vehicles and train tracks. My cousin, he had a Jeep Cherokee. You know, the kind where you could. Take the back window washer nozzle and remove it, and it would spray out. Yeah. He was in front of me and a friend of mine who had a Chevy Blazer, and there is a section of the railroad here close to where I live that is super duper ramp. It's a big fucking ramp. That's all it is, and it's not like a speed bump ramp. It's like. It's almost inviting you to ramp it. That's what it looks like. And I swear to you, he was hanging out of his window with his fist up in the air going, woohoo, going 70 miles an hour. And he hit this ramp, and I guarantee he got 3 to 5 feet of air, anywhere between there. When he landed, he folded like, so he's leaning out of the car. His head is out of the car with his fist up in the air as he's flying through the air, holding the steering wheel with one arm, with one hand. And when he landed, his body folded over to the side of the Jeep, and his head smacked the door. Okay? And he got back in his car, slammed the brakes on, got out, and was like, yeah! I was like, you're not dead? Hello? What the fuck, dude? It was incredible. It was absolutely incredible. No, not drunk. He was just crazy.
Oh.
Yeah, dude. That's growing up in Hillbillyville.
Yeah.
That's the kind of shit that happens. And that's why I kind of do embrace my hillbilly roots, because not so much the idea of it, but the things that you get to do growing up in an area like this. So much fun. Like, you talk about taking risk. Oh my God. Man, we found. So
we don't get to do that here. We have to ride motorcycles at unseemly speeds.
My cousin, also in the same town that my friend died in, my cousin had land there, and that's where he lived. Well, this is really close to a big giant quarry, and we rode our four-wheelers back there one day, And underneath some brush alongside the pit, we found a box of nitro fucking glycerin.
Oh.
The sticks were leaking. Okay. My cousin grabbed the box, put it on the back of his four-wheeler, and rode all the way back home, which was like 5 miles.
Jesus Christ.
We took a stick of it, just one of them, and we buried it like 2 feet in and then lit the fuse and ran. Well,
oh, God.
Yeah, that was cute because about 2 seconds after we started running, it blew up, and I literally fell on my face because of the shockwave. That was, and then we, after that, we told his dad, Dad, we found some TNT. What? He's freaking the fuck out. But then when he figured out, hey, I got all this land, we can have some fun, he eventually let us set it all off with him. It was fun.
My friend tried to do that. You know, it was TNT, not nitroglycerin, but he did the same thing where he buried it and blew up. Unfortunately, he didn't quite set it apart from the others enough.
Oh, and blew up the whole box.
So when he blew up, it was a big fucking. So he started running, and he heard an explosion, and then another one, and then a huge one, and yeah, there went a farmer's field. Oops.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, to be fair, he was honest. He said he saw a neighborhood kid plant TNT in his fields. It wasn't me. It was, well, it must have been one of the neighborhood kids. It wasn't me. What a moron. He didn't realize that he didn't realize that he needed to like put it just a little bit apart from the other. So, you know, so he started running away.
I couldn't. At the time, I was just a stupid teenager and didn't know any better. Actually, I was more like 12, and I didn't know any better. But I'm surprised we even survived driving home.
Yeah, me too. That was retarded.
Because that shit's extremely volatile and extremely prone to exploding due to impact.
I know. That's retarded.
It was retarded. But it was so much fun once we got it back and did that. Oh, man.
And you talk about motorcycles, really?
I know.
No, oh, my God. You are the weirdest person I've met.
Everybody's contradictory and weird and fucked up. Leave me the fuck alone.
No, I don't want to. It's fun being mean to you.
Mm-mm.
What is to me? Yo-ho.
I love how the inner, like, 11-year-olds come out in us.
No.
Dude. Shut up. My dad could beat up your dad, fucker.
I don't know, actually. Well,
I have no idea, dude. I don't really give a shit. But, you know, a funny thing about, like, 7-year-old boys.
My God could beat up your God.
The funny thing about, like, 7-year-old boys is when they discover cuss words and they hear adults saying them. They don't really know what they mean yet, but they know that they're not supposed to say it.
So they say it.
When you catch them doing a string of cuss words, it's fucking hilarious.
Because they have no idea what it actually means.
Yeah, dude. Fuck shit, man. Because, damn it, hell. Fucking dildo. Pussy shit. Fuck. It's just like, kid, chill the fuck out. Do you even know what any of that means? Yeah. Yeah, I know what that means. Fucker.
I just love how much emphasis they put in it, too. It's like they put like hyper emphasis into it.
Yeah, I remember being, I remember that phase of my life. And I remember quite vividly because it was the first time I smoked a cigarette. Every cuss word I said, I'd stop my foot as I walked. So it was like, fuck, shit, dick, dildo, ah, you know, trying to think I'm all badass and shit.
That's the lamest story I've ever heard.
And then I smoked a cigarette for the first time. Well, like you were saying, though, kids put emphasis on the cuss word, and I stomped my foot to do that.
I know, and I'm just making fun of you now.
And then I went and smoked my first cigarette, and holy shit, I coughed my balls off. I had no more balls after that.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you for telling me about your...
Yeah, at least I'm telling fucking story. Dick, shit, fucker.
Your lack of balls.
I have no balls.
I'm going to kill this stream because I'm about to go do stuff, but we'll still talk a little bit.
Okay.
We'll be back in about 20 minutes, people.
Shit, dick, pussy.
Get fucked.